So, hello everyone. Welcome to the Power Move, capturing video testimonials for your ultimate content strategy. So, before we get started, I do want us to introduce ourselves. Guys, my name is China Morgan. I'm the founder of Vidlo and a lover of all things customer content, UGC, video testimonials.
Hi everyone, my name is Roshni Galati. I'm Vidlo's content strategist. I'm obsessed with content and how you can use video for your content strategy.
Awesome. So, the first thing we're going to talk about is what are video testimonials, right? And now we all know what reviews are, regular feedback that you might get online that are like written statements, but what are video testimonials? So, video testimonials are short videos where your customers or your clients share their positive experiences with a product, your service, or your company, right? So, at our company at Vidlo, we like to think of them as like these little mini movies. They're like these supercharged gems that your customers can create that really show why they love you so much. And the reason why I say they're supercharged is because when you get something in video form, it's authentic, it's real. You see real emotion, right? So you're able to really convert that person to see exactly what your customer is saying. So this is a fun fact. A fun fact is, did you know that 79% of people that watch video testimonials, they convert much higher than regular reviews, right? So if you have reviews on your website, on your social media, if someone's watching that, 79% of people that watch it are more likely going to convert into your customers. So I do have a question for you guys. I need you guys to give me some feedback on this, right? I need to hear your guys' voices. When was the last time a testimonial impacted your purchasing decisions? Like, was there a brand that you saw maybe a written review or a video review, and you're like, hold up, I need to either buy their services or get one of their products? Let me know, you guys.
I have
Anyone? Yes.
mine is
This
literally
is Kapil.
yesterday.
Hello?
Hi,
Oh,
I'm doing well. We haven't talked in quite a long time.
Hello?
Yeah, how's your new gig at UCI?
Someone's on the phone. If you can hear
on
us,
mute.
we can hear you on the
I'm
phone.
muted him.
Okay.
But I have one, which is, yeah, like John says all the time. But I am planning my 6-year-old's birthday party,
Okay.
and it's unicorn themed, so like all the girliness. Um, and so I was on what I call Temu. What I learned at the Super Bowl is actually called Temu,
Okay.
looking at all this unicorn crap. And my experience with this site has been that often when you order from it, the things you get are like mini size, like the pictures, they look really big. And then so I was reading the reviews to see what like actual people said about unicorn balloons and napkins and
Okay.
crafts.
Now, how did that convert you, right? What review did you see where you're like, okay, I need to get this unicorn right now?
Just that's typically what I actually look for is the size. Just that a lot of times they give it to you, and but when it comes, it's like not really the 10 centimeters they say it's going to be. So I purchased the ones that had the positive reviews and said item just as described and whatever.
Well, anyone else? Else have any other experience with a product you maybe saw a video testimonial and it made you want to buy that product or service?
I mean, isn't that what TikTok does constantly? Like, I just feel like
Yeah, TikTok is the land of it.
China, there was a site I was at recently, and I was researching something for marketing of some sorts, and there was one site that I went to. They had so many freaking testimonials. Like after like they had so many written ones and so many video ones. After like the fourth one, I'm like, okay, like you know what I mean? There was so many. Like you didn't even have to watch anymore. Like after the four, you're like, okay, I want to work with this company already.
Okay.
Like like you know what I mean? Like the sheer amount of them
Yeah.
was like after you watch the first four, you're like, okay, I get it. I mean, what are the other ones going to say? Like, they're not going
Right.
to say anything bad, right?
Yeah.
So, like, just the sheer amount of video testimonials impacted the purchasing decision,
Also made you a believer just because you know so many people are vouching for their brand.
right? Because there's like two or three cool. That's cool. I mean, it's better than zero, right? I mean, that's definitely important. We need to work on that. But like when there's like 100, you're like, okay, like,
We're doing
this is
something good.
something right. Yeah, exactly.
Got it. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing, John. So what we're going to be talking about today, our first point, right, is how to capture video testimonials that convert from your audience. Because you can get video testimonials all throughout the year, right? But if you're not clear on your content strategy in terms of the type of testimonials you need to convert, then really testimonials don't mean anything. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the first point. When you are trying to get testimonials, you need to be clear on your content strategy, right? What point can you make that's going to convert your audience, your prospective customer, to want to buy from you, right? So what do you need your current customer to say about your brand that would get other people to want to buy your brand? So number one, you got to be clear. Be very clear with the questions that you want to ask. Example that we have here is, can you share a moment when you realize our product or service is really working for you, right? Or how has our products changed your life? You have to be very specific with the type of content you capture from your audience. So I'm going to throw it back to you guys in terms of, can some of you guys share the companies that you have, right? And then what are some pain points you're solving so we can kind of figure out what type of testimonials prompts you would give to your customers? Anyone want to share?
If the person shares a problem that I'm having that I need solving and they talk about, so I can relate to the problem, and then they talk about how the product solved it for them.
Mhm.
And for me, definitely it's around, skincare as well as other business things. But like if they're talking about how well the product solves that problem, then I'm very likely
To get
to buy it.
Yes. So that's the key, right? Is when you're talking to prospective clients, you want to hone into their pain points. Because when another customer is talking about their pain points, that's relatable, it looks authentic, they're more likely to believe that you have solved that pain point for that customer, right? And I think a lot of times when we're wanting video testimonials, we're not very clear on our acts. We just want them to say, hey, let us know what you thought about our brand. Well, they could say whatever. It doesn't mean that it's going to solve the content strategy you need for your strategy, the video testimonials that you need for your strategy. So I always tell our clients, be super clear on your pain points and asking your current customers how you have solved those pain points, because then that's relatable to other customers.
So I have a question, China, and let me know if this works its way into your later in your presentation. But when we talk about the benefit of video testimonials versus text, if we're, Karen's example of makeup, obviously it helps to see on video, right? Ooh, that person's skin looks wonderful. But like if you're a B2B company and the pain point you're solving is, providing contacts in Karen's case, like why is the video better than text, or is it?
Yeah, so that's what I like to say. I think a lot of times when I talk to clients in the B2B space, they think because they're B2B, they don't have to market to everyone or market like regular B2C clients do, right? And the whole thing with video is that people are people. People want to see people that work with you, right? When you're doing video testimonials, I'm able to see your client. I'm able to see how they really feel about your brand. So you're able to convert more and convey more emotion with video. And I think that's why video is much more powerful than written text. It's just because it's just more emotion involved. You can see the person, you see how they really feel about your brand. So it allows them to vouch even more stronger. Then written text, it's powerful, but you don't get the full story behind the person that's behind the text.
So it's more of like an emotional connection?
The emotional connection, for sure. And allows people to relate more, because when you see someone that looks like yourself, you're able to kind of keen into it more and be like, oh, okay, they use it. Let me check this out, because they look similar to what I look like. They look like a real person, Makes sense?
Yes.
Any other questions, guys, before we go to the next slide? So the first thing, right, when you want to capture video testimony to convert, you're going to be very clear on your content strategy. What do you need your customers to say that will convert your prospective clients? The second step is when you're wanting to capture these video testimonials, the first people you want to reach out to are your brand advocates, right? Now, when I say the first people you need to reach out to, you can send this out to all your customers, but when you want to construct your content strategy, the first people you want to reach out to are your biggest fans. These are people that love you. They've maybe written a written statement about you online somewhere. Maybe you had a Zoom session with them and they just told you how fabulous and amazing your services are, right? So you want to reach out to them because you already know that they love you. And most likely when someone writes a really good written statement about your services, they're more likely to want to create a video for you or be okay with creating a video testimonial for you. So reach out to your brand advocates. Number 3 is always show thankfulness, gratefulness, and appreciationness. Guys, I made that word up, but it just flowed when I was writing it. I don't think it's a word, but maybe it is. So the whole thing is your customers are doing you a huge favor, right? Asking them to take time out of their day to create you a video testimonial is an act, right? So you always want to show them how grateful you are. And by doing that, you can give them certain incentives, right? Maybe it's a discount. Maybe it's a promo code. Maybe you're showcasing them on your website. Show them how grateful you are because number one, you're capturing this content that's going to convert, right? So they're pretty much giving you this content that you're going to make so much more revenue with. So the least you can do is just show them your appreciation and give them a little something for thank you for showing us how much you love our brand.
China, I have a question about that, especially in the B2B space, because typically it's a person who's taking the time out of their day to do it. And the benefit that we would offer would actually be to the business. And unless they're the business owner, right, they're not actually getting that benefit. So how do you think about that?
So with that, it could just be, so when I say incentives, it really has to be with the market, right? A lot of times this works with like the B2B, the B2C space, but if we're doing more to business, it could just kind of be like showcasing their testimonial on your website and linking that back to their website. So they kind of get that SEO, maybe you can showcase what they do and it allows them to drive traffic to their site as well. So just kind of like, or maybe showcasing them on your social channels, their testimonials, linking them back to their website. So I think that really just depends on your client, your customer that you're referring to, and then kind of what works for them.
Karen, I just want to pipe in here too, not necessarily about video testimonials, but showing appreciation in general in the B2B space. I kind of tie that back to the love languages, if anybody's read the book, right? So different people have different ways that they show love or appreciation. So for some, it can be the receiving gifts like you're talking about, but also like acts of service. Like after they leave you a testimonial, maybe go into their LinkedIn and leave them a review on their, LinkedIn page or something like that.
I like that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Because I think it's all about understanding who that person is or who that client is, and then figuring out how you can also give them a favor as well. Show your appreciation for them.
Appreciationness.
Appreciationness. Guys, don't forget that. Appreciationness. Any other questions, you guys, about this? Incentives, showing appreciationness. And then our fourth point, right? Our fourth point is make it easy for them to record. So make it easy for you to capture the testimonials, but make it even easier for your audience to record the testimonials. So we live in 2024, right? There's so many different tech companies that allows you to create video testimonial campaigns, right? So when you create a video testimonial campaigns, you create a campaign, it's going to generate a link and you're going to send that to your audience for them to record it right on their device and it syncs to you automatically, right? There's no more going back and forth with emailing them. They send it over to you. You have to edit all these different steps. Now there's so many technologies out there where you can just send them a link. They can record it. You can share it right away. So make it easy because a lot of people don't want to take too much time out their day to record. But if you have a technology that allows them to do that seamlessly, it makes it easier for you and for them. So I do have another question for you guys, and I need some more feedback from you guys. So where is the most creative place you have seen a video testimonial or review? Is there like a place where you're like, this is an interesting place to place your review or video here? Websites, social media, proposals. Any cool ones you guys have seen so far?
Ooh, proposals is a good idea. I can't say I've seen it before, but I like it.
Yeah.
Job posting websites. Can you talk through that, Kapil?
Yeah. So this is going to Rashi's actually going to take over this slide, and we're going to talk about how to leverage your testimonials to boost your sales, and then we'll give you guys some ideas of how you can leverage them on your website, proposals, and everything else.
That's interesting.
Roshni?
I don't want to Oh, sorry, I was just reading the chat.
Right.
Yeah, I think that the probably same thing for me, like a big public space, if I see like a testimonial, it definitely catches my eye. I'm like, oh, they put like a whole quote on this like billboard or whatever. So yeah, it's definitely a good spot. Yeah, so awesome. So now that we know how to capture a video testimonial, we can discuss how to leverage them to boost your sales. And then the first way is through ads. So ads are a great way to show that your brand makes customers happy. And it leads potential customers to feel more inclined to choose your brand over competitors. So this is a great way to promote your business on your socials and also get more likes and views. And when you use testimonials, it allows you to diversify your advertisements on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, allowing your brand to capture people's attention and get more sales with relatable content. And our next way is through websites. So on your website, you can showcase testimonials, either have your own page with a bunch of testimonials, kind of like the picture here, or even if you have your products listed somewhere and if you have like testimonials underneath it, then people are able to see like, oh, like this person bought this product, they really liked it, they enjoyed it. And it'll be more likely that you'll purchase the product since you're able to see that proof that people actually did enjoy the product. And yeah, so if someone is debating whether or not to make a purchase, the testimonial will show them how much people love your brand and encourage them to make the purchase. And also, 72% of consumers want to see photos and videos from real customers on e-commerce websites. So featuring them on your website will be beneficial for your brand. And I know we mentioned proposals earlier, so here's that. So you can use them in your proposals. So this is a great way for existing customers to vouch for your brand and show potential clients why they love you. This will instill confidence into potential customers, and they will be able to be more likely to choose your brand and seal the deal. And our next way is social media. I know we were mentioning social media earlier as well. This is always a really good idea. You want to like show off your customers. They'll kind of feel like a celebrity is noticing them. I feel like a lot of customers get really excited when their favorite brand like notices them. And because of that feeling, they'll also be more likely to share it on their own social. So imagine you post something on Instagram and it's like let's say I post something of China and then China sees it and China's like, oh my God, like let me repost that on my Instagram. And then now all of China's followers are also seeing that post. So it's increasing your reach, it's getting more likes, more views, more follows for your brand. And then also when potential customers see people that look and talk like them, they'll feel a sense of belonging and they'll feel more likely to check out the brand. And our final way is through email campaigns. So by showing testimonials to your audience in emails, you make them aware of why your clients love your brand so much. You can include them in your newsletters to add diverse content, and you can segment clients to receive relevant content based on your likes and needs. So if you imagine like if you've ever, added an item to your cart and then left the website and then you get that email that's like, hey, you left this in your cart, like, just a reminder. Imagine seeing a testimonial there and then, you'll feel more convinced and more likely to purchase that product because you're seeing examples of people saying like, oh, this product has helped me in this way, or this service has helped me in a specific way. And additionally, including a video in an email can help increase click-through rates by 200 to 300%. So it's a win-win situation. You get to include cool content and you get an increase in CTR.
So we have a question about emails in the chat. How do we make sure the video link does not throw the email into spam?
So I think that just depends on the provider that you are using for your email campaigns. There's really nothing you can do to stop it from going to spam. That just has to do with, I think, your provider, whether you're using MailChimp or MailerLite, and the kind of like testing that out to see if that's throwing it to spam or not. But I don't think you have any control over that.
Okay, and somebody else, China, asked, what are some good video testimonial technology platforms?
So we actually have one. It's called Vidlo. So we help brands capture video testimonials in minutes. So you create a campaign, you send your audience or your customers a link, and they're able to create their video testimonials right from their device. So everything's branded with your brand, and you can automatically sync it to your social media platforms, to your website, or however you want to leverage that testimonial. And there's other technologies out there such as VidAx. Like there's a lot of video testimonial technologies. Any other questions in that? And I do want to go back to the proposals because I know, Christina, you had a question about the proposal section. So a lot of times with our clients, how they use proposals is that depending on who they're sending their proposal to, right, they'll have a customer that can talk directly to that person. So say, for example, if I'm sending a proposal to a music agency, right, and I've worked with one already, I'll just put that agency, I'll have them talk about how we have changed their life, how the impact we've made. And then I'll put that directly in the proposal that I send to them. So they'll know exactly what we can do because we've helped someone that's exactly like them, that Zach ICP. Make sense? Makes sense? Awesome. So the last thing we're going to talk about, so we've talked about how do you capture, right? How do you capture your video testimonials in terms of making sure your content strategy is super clear. Number two, we talked about how to leverage your testimonials, right? How do you leverage it so you can boost your sales and really get the most out of your video testimonials? And then the third thing we're going to talk about is how can you capture more CRM data to understand your audience better through video testimonials? So the question I have for you guys is, do you think, right? Do you think you can capture CRM from video testimonials? Yes or no? Off the bat, what was your thoughts? You're like, does this even make any sense? Can you capture it from video testimonials? Do you have something in the chat? What was your guys' thoughts on this?
And when you say capture CRM data, you're talking about like their name,
Emails,
email, their
phone numbers, other data points that you can really recognize your customer from.
I'm thinking no.
No? Okay. I think a lot of, are we having a,
The inclination is no, but I feel like you're going to tell us why we can.
yes. So we can actually, the answer is yes, right? So when you're creating a video testimonial campaign, right? If you're using a video testimonial tool, you can capture other data such as emails, phone numbers, and custom questions. So a lot of times how you can do this is either before your audience or your customers are creating your video or after, you're going to ask them certain questions that can sync to your HubSpot, right? So maybe you're getting a video testimonial, but you want to know their zip code. You're able to insert certain questions that you can also sync to your HubSpot here, right? So everything that you get for your testimonial campaign can sync directly to your HubSpot profile. And there's one cool thing you can do, right? There's one cool thing you can do is you can actually add your user's video testimonial to their HubSpot profile. So you're probably wondering, how can you do this, right? So in your HubSpot dashboard, you can have attachments to each customer, right? So you can add your customer's video testimonial to their profile. And what you can do is create different segments, right? And maybe create different funnels. So whoever created you a video testimonial, maybe you segment them off and they get another marketing campaign, giving them some type of incentives, giving them some type of like maybe a sneak peek of something because you know those are like your super, like your super fans, your brand advocates. So it's a way to kind of streamline and understand your customers and see who's really vouching for your brand.
And China, there's a question about that, two questions actually in the chat. So first one about capturing the CRM data. Wouldn't you already have that information if you're requesting testimonials from?
Yeah, so it depends, right? So a lot of times what clients do is you might have like a video testimonial campaign on your website for new customers. So maybe they're not a customer yet, but you're trying to say, hey, how did you like our website? Maybe they're not a customer yet, but you want to get them to be a customer. So they're creating this content for you, and then you're getting more data from them, such as their email, their zip code, that you can sync to, and then really kind of nourish that relationship more.
So like I could send out a campaign after this event, even though everybody here is not my client necessarily, and I don't have their information, and say, can you leave us a video testimonial about the event?
Yeah.
Is that kind of a use case?
Yeah. So you'll do that, right? And then you're able to capture their emails, their other data, and then you're able to create a funnel for them to kind of nourish that contact. So you guys, there's so many ways to use video content testimonials. It doesn't always have to be with your direct customer. It can be with also prospective clients, listening to what they think about you when they first saw you, and because you can also leverage that as well.
Interesting. And another question from the chat, can we track who watched the testimonial? So after somebody leaves you the testimonial, you put it on your website or whatnot, can you track who watched it and the details about those people, those who watched?
There are technologies that you can use to track. So you can't track them on per se like social media, like exactly who's watching it. But on if you sync your testimonials to your website, you're able to have analytics on there to see how many times someone has watched it. You know, compared to the other stuff on your website. Now, when it comes to like a direct customer, I don't know if you'll be able to say, hey, China watched this today. But you can track to see how much engagement and views you are getting on your website.
So in HubSpot, just throwing this in there, you can actually, if your user is a known user, if they're cookied already, you can actually see that a known user has watched a specific video.
Yeah, awesome. Now that's on HubSpot, right? On HubSpot, you can do that. Awesome. So yeah, I guess you can do that on HubSpot then. But if you're doing it just on your website, there's no known technology that I know that can track names of people that have watched a video. So do we have any other questions before I go to the next slide?
Not in the chat. If anybody has questions, feel free to unmute yourself and speak up or throw them in the chat.
A fun fact, guys, I'm going to go to our fun fact. So another fun fact is 2 out of 3 consumers are more likely to purchase a product after seeing a video testimonial. So I just want to make sure when we're doing this chat that you guys understand like the power of video testimonials and why they convert so much more. And it's really simple. It's because it's human. People like watching people. People trust people more than they trust your brand, right? We can say our brand's doing the most amazing thing, but when you hear an actual customer say it gives it more power. It makes it more real, right? So the question I'm leaving you guys with is, are you ready to start capturing your video testimonials today? Let me know. This is where I need some feedback from you guys. Have you guys captured video testimonials already? Is this something you guys been looking to do? I'd love to hear from you guys.
China, we just started actually trying to do it, but not through a program. It was like over Zoom and like have to coordinate with the marketing guy who calls the customer on Zoom, and then they have to edit it, and then it's just, not. I mean, it's great for long form. I don't know how long these little video testimonials can be or should be, or the platform allows you to do it. But it's nice to have the interaction between the two, like a host and a person. But most of the time that host gets cut out and it's just that like snippets of audio together for the video testimonial. That's how we've been doing it. We've not been very successful with it because of the timing and schedules and it takes too long, 30 minutes. Like I like this idea of like doing it on their own time and like a 30-second, and they can rehearse it over and over. I'm assuming these platforms you can hit record, you don't like it, hit record again, say it again, do it again, do it again, do it again. Like a voicemail, like, you know what I mean? Keep recording your own voicemail over and over and over. So I'm assuming that's part of this program. But I'd be interested to see what that's like. So for sure.
So you raise a lot of good points, and those were some of the pain points we're trying to solve when it comes to video testimonials, right? And I think we live in this world now, this time where like short form content is king, right? So we don't have people attention spans are not going to be for 2 to 3 minutes just to see what someone has to say about your brand. You have to get them right in the beginning. And I know they say like the perfect ad is 15 seconds. So it's like, how do you allow and that's why when I went to my first point in terms of being very clear on the type of testimonial you want, right? When you're clear about it, you don't need someone to talk too long about your brand because they're just going to hit your point and hit your question. So we believe that short form content is the best. 15 to 30 second has worked a lot for our clients. And like you said, the going back and forth, there's no like having someone to interview you, you're recording on Zoom. They can really do it in their own house in their own time. Everything's edited already, so it's just good to go as soon as they finish recording. But thank you for that comment, John. I appreciate you sharing.
John, what kind of industry are you in? Is it B2B or B2C?
Say it one more time.
We are in B2B.
B2B.
Yeah, we sell like high ticket like networking and IT products.
Got it. And but to that point, you do have to be you know your audience better than anyone else, right? So when it comes to this type of content, if long form content works better with your audience, then that's what you should do. You know what I mean? I think it's not a one size fits all when it comes to
Right.
testimonials. So you just have to really understand your audience and then like what works for them to convert more customers.
Yeah, it's an expense. Like it could be an expensive proposition too. You got to edit it, you got to put it together. I mean, one could take like 3 weeks to get done, like, or 2 weeks. It just depends. I mean, how big and how long. And a lot of times they're very shy and they're like not looking at the camera and like, hey, look at the camera. Like you got. It's just kind of like it's like literally like half a disaster most of the time. And you can only get like two little pieces out of it, and you
So
know.
I'm thinking if that's a pain point, then I would love to connect with you after because our solution might be an easier way to capture your testimonials from
Okay.
them. Because it's
Yeah.
not as invasive, it's not as, intimidating
Right.
as if you're having a whole studio there, someone's watching you record,
Right.
you know?
Right. Exactly.
I would love to connect with you, John.
I
Okay.
feel like, do you have any data about, I feel like the quick and dirty ones might even be more effective because they come across as more authentic.
They are. So TikTok has changed that, right? Because everything's on TikTok videos, people are real, they're just giving the reviews. It's not polished, it doesn't look perfect. That really converts more than things that are more perfect, right? So it's what really makes testimonials win is just how authentic and real they look. So I think a lot of brands are starting to get away from that formal editing of testimonials and just now like allowing their customers to record something and then sharing it because it's just a more real look that converts. Any other questions or notes you guys
Oh,
have?
also to add on to that, I feel like when things are a little more polished looking, a lot of people would think that it's like sponsored content. So again, with the whole like allowing people to be their authentic selves, like super natural, super, just like on the spot recordings might come off better to customers just because they won't be questioning like, oh, is this sponsored? I know whenever I look on TikTok, I always have to check the caption to see like, is this a sponsored post or like, are they hiding that little sponsored tags at the bottom or is this like an actual review, like an honest review? So.
And Rashni, thank you for making that point because I think that's what makes the difference between influencer content and then like your real customer content, right? You can always tell the difference. I know when someone's trying to get me to buy something, and then I know when someone is just like talking from their experience and just being like a real thoughtful testimonial. So there's definitely a difference between the two. And customer content works best when it comes to like your brand and kind of like that real feeling from your brand. Any other questions or thoughts, guys?
I feel like to answer your question of, are you ready to start capturing video testimonials? I feel like I'm kind of projecting my own dislike of video. Just like my clients aren't going to want to go on video, just like I wouldn't want, I'll leave a text review, but I don't want to go on video.
But to that point, I think you should give them an option, right? Like I think maybe they can leave a text review or a video review and see kind of
That's a good point.
what works the best, because you guys, even if you get one video review, that's enough to get you started, right? That's enough like proof, social proof for people to know why they should want to go to your brand. So I'm not saying you have to get 1,000 testimonies a year, but even one can really supercharge your marketing efforts. So give them options.
You're so right. And, just from the marketing standpoint, you're always supposed to target your marketing to your persona, not to yourself. And you're not always your own persona. And it's like all the things that I know in my head, but when it comes time to ask for that favor, I feel icky.
Yeah. But listen, I did the same thing. We put ourselves in it, and it's like, hold up, let me take myself out of it. And, and I think because there's so much data to prove how testimonials are so impactful, it doesn't hurt to try,
Okay. Christina, we're going to start this.
How many pain points can we effectively address in a 15 to 30-second video?
Question.
So to be honest with you, you don't want to you want to be very clear. so I really think you should like ask one question, right? So get your biggest pain points, or well, a lot of times what our clients do is they create different campaigns with different questions and they target different people. So they segment them. So maybe like one segment is talking about how you changed their life. Another segment is talking about how easy it was to onboard. So you're able to get different content from different people, and they don't have to feel like they have to answer all these questions in one at one time. So the best practice is always be very clear in terms of give them one question that they can answer very thoughtfully. And then if you want to send them another question, another campaign, you can do that as well. Let me know if that answered your question.
Did that help, Karen? Oh, where'd she go?
I think that's interesting too, Karen, going back to your previous question about appreciationness, right?
Yeah.
Like if you wanted to give somebody a personal gift, like I don't know, a free cup of coffee at Starbucks, right? So you could almost offer that for every 15 to 30-second testimonial, right? At each one you give us, we'll give you a $5 coffee card. And then they can do, address different questions in each one.
Yeah.
And you could also use those at different points in your buyer's journey.
I'm almost thinking like, how LinkedIn does those, like answer these questions to become like a known expert in an area. It's almost like that in a way, like, oh, just address this one thing. So that makes a lot of sense.
And if you think about it, right, when you're creating your content strategy for the year, you have different points that you want to answer, right? Like there's different points that you need to answer in order to like allow your customers to know that you can provide them that you have the problem to solve their pain points. So I think it's like going back to that and being very simple and clear about the content you need and then the acts that you have for your customers. I think a lot of times we make it too hard and we want to get everything in one video or one time. And it's one thing is as powerful as more powerful than that. So I completely understand, Karen.
What is that? Less is more?
Less is more. That's what's simple. Keep it simple, Just make sure that your questions are very thoughtful and they're actually going to help you solve a pain point for your customers.
So another question. Is there any way to tie back a view to conversion data somewhere down the line?
Yes, on your website. So there are analytics you can put on your website that's able to have all the analytics, conversion rates on how many views you're getting, how is that linking to more sales on your website. So there is technology out there that can do that. Now you can't do that really on social media, but if you have the testimonials on your website, you can definitely do that. On social media, you can do it your own way. In terms of you can see how many views you've got on your stories, if that's leading to any more like clicks to go to your website, and if that's leading to any more sales on your website, there are ways you can do it. But in terms of like streamlining it, I know there's a lot of website technologies that do it automatically. I hope that answered your question. Any other questions, guys? And then also from you guys, I would love to know, have you guys captured video testimonials already? Or do you guys mainly just capture written reviews? Or is this like a new concept you guys are trying to get into?
I think Kapil had said he's looking to start, or Karen, you're looking to start next week on doing video reviews.
And I'd love to connect with you, Karen, as well. So we can support you.
And we know John's been doing it because we heard his pain points.
Yes. What about Rachel, Brandy, Dominique?
And Kapil is interested. They haven't gotten into it, but interested. So like, is there like do you have a little mini step 1, step 2, step 3 checklist? Because he has text reviews.
Okay. So do we have a checklist for what? What's the question? A checklist
if you're brand new to the situation, what should I start? Where is my start point and what do I have to have in place?
Okay. So the first thing you're gonna have to have in place is like we're gonna go back to step 1, be clear on the content that you need to capture. So you want to be clear on your prompts, right? What question do you have for your customer? right? Once you're clear with that, you're either going to send them an email or use a technology like we have to send over your testimonial link to your brand advocates. So to the customers or to the person that you want to share, you're going to create a campaign. It's going to have your logo on there. The campaign is also going to have your prompt, right? Asking them a question. They're going to get that. They're going to tap it. They're going to record right on their device. The video is going to have your logo on it, your branding on it, and then literally it syncs directly to you. And they can also share it on their end as well. But it syncs to you, and then you're able to repurpose it directly from your dashboard to your website, to your social media, to your proposals. You guys really leverage UGC ads. Because UGC ads convert way much higher than any other type of ads out there. So you can also use the testimonials for that as well. But yeah, after you create your
Can
campaign,
you expand on that?
in terms of
What's
ads.
a UGC ad?
Yeah, so UGC is user generated content. So it's pretty much anything created from your customer, from your client, and it's real content. So a video testimonial is a UGC content. It's user generated content. So a lot of times, if you notice, like on Facebook and Instagram, a lot of ads now have real people in it, and it's real people talking about your brand. Now, a lot of them do have an influencers, but more brands are using actual video testimonials to create ads they can use on social media to get more people to tap on their brand and to check out their website. So the thing is, once you're done capturing your video testimonials, you can repurpose that content for an ad that you can have on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, to get more people aware of your brand.
Interesting. Do you see a reduction in the impact that an influencer has versus an organic review?
It's kind of hard to compare because they're two different markets. You know, I think a brand that's using influencer is not the same brand that needs video testimonials from their customer. It's two different markets, so you can't really compare the impact that they both have on each other. I think you just have to understand your brand and what works, what resonates with your audience, and then create the ad from there. But with influencers, that's a huge market, and a lot of brands can leverage that more than others. So it just depends on where you're at, you know? Yeah. But I don't think you can really compare the data of it because they're just when you think of influencers, they have thousands and thousands of followers. So you're going to get a lot of brand awareness, but that doesn't always mean they're going to convert, right? It doesn't always mean that those people are going to become paid customers. So you just have to figure out exactly what works for you.
Brandy, did you have a question?
And I want to make sure that I finished. It was a Kapil. Did I answer your question in terms of how to get started? I want to make sure that I finished that.
That was actually Christina's question, and we have
Okay.
another one from Kapil, which I'll bring forward right after Brandy.
Okay. Hi, Brandy.
Hi. I suppose I do have a bit of a question. So I work with small to medium business owners who are very camera shy. So do you recommend giving them kind of like a checklist to do things to make them more comfortable getting on camera?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah, you can. So I think that's you know your audience more than anybody else, and you know what they need in order for them to feel comfortable. So I think that never hurts, right? Giving them kudos, giving them a checklist on like what to do. And a lot of times what makes a lot of testimonial campaign technologies cool is that it's not long form. So once they realize that they're only going to be in camera for 15 seconds, 30 seconds, that kind of pushes the edge off of them anyway. But getting them pointers, letting them know to smile, to be natural, I think that can never hurt. A lot of our clients give them like a email checklist, like what they should do, in their videos. And that always works well for them. But that's a great idea.
China, is a video testimonial always to show the person's face, or would you ever do like a voiceover of them using the product or something?
You can. So you can be as creative as you want, right? I think normally when you think of video testimonial, it's that person on the camera, you see their face, you see their emotion. But we live in this day and time where like creativity always wins. So if you want to take a video of the ocean and then you have this cool voiceover of like why I love your brand, that can work, right? I think it's just figuring out what works for your audience. And does that convert? Maybe try it out, see if that converts at all. If not, go back to regular form video testimonials. But when people see people's faces, that always, people like to see people. So that's why I kind of of video testimonials. But hey, be creative. Why not? People love to see oceans and doggies and cats and, food, it can't hurt.
So you want to get to Kapil's question? Did that help Brandy at all? I'm sorry. Yes.
Yes, thank you. I was just confirming. I think a lot of times it's a fear factor getting clients to come on board, and I found coaching in many aspects to be beneficial. So I presume it would be with video testimonial as well.
Yeah, and that we've noticed that as well. And I think it being short form content helps that so much more because they don't feel like they have to be there for a long time. It's just super short. So we've seen that that's kind of alleviated some of the pain point of getting them on camera when they figure out how easy it is to record it. And I think a lot of times, back to my first point, a lot of clients are not clear about what they want. So it kind of leaves it up into interpretation to the client just to say whatever. And then they get more flustered and don't know if they're saying the right thing. So just being clear about the testimonials that you want, having a clear question always is very helpful for them as well.
I wonder if it would help also, Brandy, to like show an example. And it doesn't even have to be an example for your own brand if you don't have any yet, but just like show an example testimonial where somebody did it for a different brand. It could be in a completely different industry and it wasn't completely polished and, but it's still effective and it's still valuable to you.
Right, that's a good point.
Oh, no, that's an awesome idea. And that's what some of our clients actually do is they'll record their own testimonial first and then send it to their client so their client can know what to expect or what they should say in the video. So that's
There's
always
your coaching, Brandy. You've got to record some testimonials.
Yeah.
to know how easy it is, what you need, and then that allows them to know how easy it is to capture,
Yeah, that one.
Good points.
Thank you for your question, Brandy. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you for coming on camera. Do you want to ask your own question or do you want me to ask it?
I can ask it. Thanks a lot. This is really helpful. So I'm the executive director of a nonprofit. We're B2C and we operate public charter schools. So we generally have very positive reviews on review sites, except sometimes we have students who write reviews. And sometimes as a student, nobody really likes school. And so they are not writing necessarily about us. So I'm wondering, can video testimonials kind of combat those kinds of things? And then as we're thinking about like the one question to ask, should we be asking questions that are directly refuting a negative review online?
Oh, that's a good question. So let's go to your first question first. The first question was, do video testimonials, will they help the negative written statements online? Is that what you're saying? So, I don't know if there's really you can't really stop negative reviews, right? If someone wants to write something crazy, there's really nothing to stop them but to have more positive reviews than negative ones, right? And I think if they're all written reviews and if you have a couple of video testimonials on there, that kind of just only puts more proof of why people love your brand because they can anyone can write, right? Just like when you're on social media, anyone can be a bad person and write something bad about your brand. But when someone has to be the face of it, right? I don't think no one's really goes on video to really vouch like, they were the most horrible thing ever unless they're really dedicated to, to doing that. So I don't think that it combats it, but I think just adding more video testimonials never hurts people to know that like why people love what you guys are doing.
I think also, Kapil, it's a difference of the platform, right? So if your students are leaving reviews on like great schools or something where you have no control over what gets published, then, you have no control over what gets published. But if you do like a video testimonial campaign and you gather them and then it's your decision how to use them, like they showed us, you can use them in a proposal, you can use them on your social media. Obviously, you're not going to pick the bad ones.
Yeah. So it allows you to have more control, but you can't control what they put, what they put out there. And then your second question, can you remind me of your second question that you had?
Yeah. So as you talked about asking one question for a short 15 to 30-second testimonial. Should we ask questions that are specifically refuting a negative review? So, for example, we might have a student who says, I don't like the teachers, they're not nice to me. Should we ask for reviews that talk about, tell us some wonderful experiences with your child's teacher?
Of course. I think that you can use that as a way to kind of like refute different claims, right? So I think just being thoughtful in the questions that you have, and not making it seem like you're going tit for tat with the negative reviews, but formulating in a way that is kind of goes with your content strategy and goes with kind of like the content that you guys already have out there, So I think you just have to be very strategic with how you ask the questions, just to make sure you're not being petty in terms of just making sure you like combat the ones that people are saying that are not the nicest, But I definitely think it's a way to leverage, you can definitely leverage video testimonials with that, by asking those questions and then putting it on your website or your social media for people to see.
Kapila, as a mother of
Thank
3
you.
K-12 students,
He's got
I can tell you that I would love to see a review from a student saying, my teacher is so strict. I hate this place because they give me homework because I get on my kids. Aria has had a thing. Their teacher was so proud of the hard work they did this year that they don't have any homework for the month of May. And I'm like,
Question I have for you is, when you're doing your marketing, are you guys marketing towards students or are you marketing towards their parents? Like, who's the ICP that you guys are gearing towards?
It depends on the grade level. So in general, we're marketing towards parents, particularly moms, because moms are the ones who make the decisions. But then when we get into the upper grades, sort of like middle school and high school grades, we also have to market to the students, because if a student really tells a parent, no, I'm not going to that school, then the parent's not usually going to fight the student.
Got it. So then with that case, right, you can create different campaigns that's geared towards different markets. So like maybe having a testimonial campaign for the older kids, because they're going to look at each other peer to peer to figure out whether or not they want to, go to you guys. And then maybe for the younger students, it's geared towards, the testimonials are geared towards the parents and get more other parents talking about why they love your guys' nonprofit. So the things with video testimonials, you could be super flexible and you can really capture as much content as you need and then create a story from there,
That's
I
interesting.
think also having the positive things from the kids' perspective would be good for the parents, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Any other questions, thoughts, comments?
I think while we're waiting for any other questions, Roshi pasted it again in the chat, but do we want to touch on your survey?
Oh, yes, you guys. So we have a giveaway. We're giving away $100 Amazon gift card. And we just have 3 simple questions for you guys because we want to really understand how different brands want to leverage testimonials, how they can, and like the most creative place, right? So the main question is, what is the most creative place you would want to put your video testimonial? And enter into our giveaway. You guys tap the link, I think, in the chat. Please fill it out. And then we will be giving that gift card out to the most creative person.
And China, when are you going to hold that raffle? Because a lot of people like to watch these like on demand. A lot of people who couldn't join us live.
Okay.
So can we do it like at the end of the week or something to give those people an opportunity to submit as well?
Of course, yeah. Let's do that. That works.
Oh, thank you, Brandy. Did she leave already? She left.
Yep, she's gone.
Awesome. But you guys, thank you guys for all. I appreciate the questions, the conversation, because I think a lot of brands are not leveraging video testimonials yet. I think it's now becoming like this full force thing now. But I think just being very strategic and how you leverage your testimonials is what gives you more revenue boosts your sales, boosts your brand awareness, and really just kind of, makes your brand that much stronger.
Awesome. I just want to address, John left a comment before he had to hop that he wants to connect. So I just want to let everybody know, we actually do not have your contact information. This is a HubSpot sponsored event. So HubSpot has your contact information, but they don't share that with us, GDPR and everything else. So John left a message that he's on LinkedIn. China, you can look him up that way. But if anybody else would like to connect, then please reach out to us, because we email you through the HubSpot platform. So we can email you based on your attendance in the event, but we don't actually get your contact information.
Well, I would love to connect with all of you guys. I love connecting on LinkedIn. Connect with me on LinkedIn at China Morgan. And then if you guys fill out the form, if you guys fill out the form, then I'll get you guys contact from there as well. And I can communicate from you guys from the giveaway.
Yeah, and I'll do an after event email through HubSpot. So it'll go to everybody who was here, and I'll include your contact information so people can connect that way.
Awesome. That would be great.
Anybody else? Questions, comments, suggestions?
I think a lot of the
video testimonial.
Any cool strategy you guys are thinking about from this chat that you guys can leverage now with your companies? I would love to hear that. Did you guys get any gems from this that you can leverage?
A couple of times in the chat, people talked about loving the one question, like the be clear.
It's very key to be focused.
Yeah. I think a lot of times we're so kind of all over the place, but my motto is like, keep it simple, because people are simple. They just want, just make it simple for people to understand. Roshan, did you have anything else you wanted to, are we missing anything? Any other tips we want to share before?
Not that I can think of right now, but if I come up with something, I'll let you know.
Okay, I have one more. I'm so sorry. I feel like I've asked a ton of questions.
Oh, go ahead.
I love it, please.
But what's your take on posting the same testimonials in multiple places? Like, does that saturate it too much, or is that not okay to do?
Oh, do it. Post it on your website, post it on your social media, post it on your email campaigns. You want to make sure that you're able to leverage it on all your touch points, right? And then really with your content strategy, you can also repurpose that in 3 months. Because people are going to forget. They're not going to be like, oh my gosh, she posted that 15, 11 times.
I think in 2 weeks too.
In 2 weeks, you know more than me in terms of content strategy. But yeah, post it, please, because you want people to see what people are talking about regarding your brand. So
that brings up a question. That brings up another question for me though, China. I assume the campaigns like through your platform have a little disclaimer, right? That we own this and we can use it anywhere. But if people aren't using a platform and they, ask for this by email, is that kind of implied consent if somebody's videotaping themselves giving you a review? Is that kind of implied consent that you can use it?
No, you always have to ask. If you're not having anything that's giving them like they're checking a mark, or they have to read the terms of service or the privacy policy, even if they're giving you a testimony, you want to make sure, hey, can I use this for my social media? Can I use this for my website? Because just because they're doing it it's not answering the question of like, can you repurpose it? It sounds like it is, it makes sense, but you always want to make sure that you get their permission.
Does that need to be documented? I would assume, especially if you're in B2B, it needs to be written and.
Yeah, just a simple email like, hey, can I use this on my website or for my marketing? It's super simple. It's not as.
Don't have to whip out a contract.
You don't have to whip out a contract. It's just an email. But a lot of times with tech platforms, like with our platform, it already comes with it. So once they create the content, they're already giving you the permission that you can use their content.
Got it.
So it makes it super easy, simple. Great. That was an awesome question. Karen, any other questions? I love your questions. You have great questions. And I'm sure it's helping everyone else as well. So
just randomly curious. But I think a lot of what everybody had very similar questions. So I think a lot was really covered in the time that we've spoken so far.
Yeah.
I know Kapil had to pop off as well. So
It's super helpful, you guys. Thank you so much. Really great.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear.
How about from your side, China? What's the best video testimonial you've ever seen?
Ooh, throwing it back to us, throwing it back to us. Let's see.
I
would
mean, you've seen way more than we
I
have.
think,
So.
you know what? I have to say, like our own video testimonials because they're so personal to me, to us. And like, I think there's a feeling you get when you get your first video testimony. You're like, oh my gosh, like they're really vouching and people can see this and like their emotion and like it's real. So I think I would have to say our personal testimonials from Bidlo would be my favorite. What about you, Roshni? Have you seen any cool ones?
Ooh, let me think. I feel like for me, a lot of the times I feel like I'm seeing testimonials are like on TikTok. So I think what I appreciate is like when brands kind of like interact with the testimonials in a sense. So like for example, I know there was like this comb I wanted to buy for my hair, and I was just like, oh, like I don't want to just like, scroll on their site. I'm seeing all these sponsored posts, but then when I'm actually seeing people who are like comparing products, so they're using like a knockoff brand versus like the actual brand, that like really helps me to see. So I would say like the more informative ones are the ones that kind of, capture my attention. But of course, when people are like funny and just, goofing off in the video, it obviously is more entertaining. So those are kind of like my favorite types. Yeah.
Oh, I love that you mentioned that point, right? Because when it comes to user-generated content, that's what a video testimonial is, but it doesn't always have to be in a video testimonial form, right? So with your brand, you can create different like video moments. Maybe it's them dancing to your music or them dancing with your product, right? That's them also vouching for your brand. So it doesn't always have to be them talking. You can create different campaigns that allows them to create different moments around your product, around how excited they are for your service. Those are the same thing as a testimonial because they're vouching and creating a video to support your brand. So really you could be as creative as you want when it comes to video content. It doesn't have to be them always answering questions. It could be like, show me how excited you are for our new brush or for our new comb. And they're like in the video brushing their hair with your product and you're sharing it on your social. So be creative, because creativity always wins, and allow them to create moments around your product or your service as well.
All right. Well, if we don't have any more questions, we'll give you 20 minutes of your day back. Look out for that follow-up email this afternoon. It'll have the recording, it'll have the slides, and it'll have China and Rajni's contact information if you have further questions or want to engage with them. It'll also have a link to our survey. One of the questions on there is, what topics would you like us to address in the future? So we would love to hear from you too.
So, well, you guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time out your day to learn more about what me and Roshni are working on and just the power of testimonials, video testimonials. So I appreciate every single one of you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.